Welcome to Turning Inward. Our intention today is to open your heart and nurture your spirit as you travel on the road without miles, moving inward on your epic and personal journey of self-discovery. I am Rebecca.polvi, your co-host, and I'm here with Dr. Vivian Carrasco. This is the 5th episode of our Winter 2015 season. We are excited to continue to share concepts from love being human with you, and grateful that you are here with us. Today we'll be exploring the concept of rest together.
This podcast offers you the opportunity to explore new perspectives through compelling interviews with beautiful human beings and words of wisdom and love. The show was created to guide and inspire you. If you're looking for more meaning in your day-to-day life, if you're looking to be wowed by everyday people, if you're on a journey to joy, peace of mind, freedom, or a wild new adventure, then honey, you are in the right place. Welcome to Turning Inward with Dr. Vivian.
Hello, Rebecca.
Hello, Miss Vivian. How are you today?
I'm good, and I just want to share with everyone what you and I said just before we hit record, and that's that I think that this is one of our most important episodes.
I agree. I wonder if that's why I've struggled with it so much, Vivian.
I think everyone struggles with it. I think that's what makes it so critical. Everyone struggles with it.
Yes, I think you're right. And I guess I before we get started, I need to fess up right away in case our audience hasn't heard this mentioned from me before, but I'm a list maker, planning, detail-oriented person. So resting my mind can come for me, but I actually feel like I have to plan for it. And I do feel that I rest my mind in a way that pleases me, but I'm not certain that I'm thinking of rest in the same way that might relate to the love being human system. So I'm very interested today to explore the topic. And I think also maybe now is a good time to mention that we don't rehearse our conversations, that I'm learning. I'm just like our audience, I'm learning. And, if someone has a specific topic or a question, they can submit it to me at Rebecca.polvi at viviancarrasco.com, and we'll be sure to respond. And so starting with the first question, I guess I want to say how I think of rest, Vivian. I think of it as sitting in stillness and creating a place for reflecting, to just close out all the noise and distraction around me. And I think of it as just clearing that noise out and just genuinely resting. And so the question is, how maybe it's a two-parter. How do we reach what might be quality rest, or how can a person recognize that they have achieved rest?
Oh, that is a two-parter. That's a two-parter. And you're going to have to remind me of the question, but how do we recognize that we've received rest, or did I put that in there?
Achieved rest.
Achieved rest. See, I automatically flipped it into receive.
Yeah, achieved rest.
So resting is receiving. Resting is renewing. Resting is when we've given ourselves the opportunity to go into a refuge, so sort of to draw ourselves near to our own source, to unite with ourself. So it is receiving. It is not achieving at all. If you are achieving, you are not resting. So I just flipped that one, and like my mind immediately substituted receive. What was the second part of the question?
I was trying to find out if maybe that's the same. I was asking how do you determine if it's quality rest? Maybe that's a really strange question.
That's a good question, though. How do you know that your rest is real, almost?
Yeah, that's a better. Quality was the wrong word. How do you know your rest is real? I like that better.
Is it feeding you? Because when I'm thinking about rest, I'm thinking about any sort of practice or habit or pattern that feeds your soul, that really nurtures and renews your whole being. And that's what I love about Love Being Human, is because it's an integration of our body, or the needs of the body, the needs of the spirit, and then the needs of our greater self. And so, is it moving you towards being that better person, that best future that you can imagine, that is beyond your imagination? And so, if it's doing that, even if it's an inch, even if it's a millimeter of an inch, whatever movement towards that, if you feel that movement towards, then it's allowing you to rest. But you started off with, you're a list maker and you have to plan your rest.
I do.
And I thought that was so interesting, and what it brought to mind for me. I've had the wonderful opportunity to sort of be a witness to people the first few times that they meditate, or that they try a practice of resting, relaxing their body and resting their mind. And what I found is that a lot of times they go to sleep. They just And do you know why I think they do that?
Why?
I think because we don't even realize when we need rest.
I think you're right.
We don't even know it. And here's an analogy I used a long time ago, probably a year ago, in an interview, and I loved it so much I wish I knew where I got it from. So let's just say I made it up. But so the analogy I used is when you're boiling water. The fire's really high on the water and it's boiling and boiling, and you're like, oh no, it's going to overflow. So instead of turning down the heat, you're plopping ice cubes in. And so you're getting the same effect, you're getting the same outcome that you intend, right? Not to have the water boil over, but you're not really getting it at its source. You're not turning down the flame. And if you would turn down the flame, then the water wouldn't even boil. You wouldn't need the ice cubes. So I think a lot of times, we're running so hard and so fast that we don't even slow down enough to know what we need.
Well, Vivian, I was going to ask a different question, but because of what you just said about rest, I want to just skip one and I'll come back to it. So I guess I want to say our human life, it's structured around really what maybe resting our bodies and mind to refuel both, and how you were saying how we don't. So how does not being able to rest impact a person if they can't make time for doing that, or they're not making time for it?
We're just slowly falling apart, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. If
we're not, imagine what a new mother is like when her baby has colic. You're doing what you know you need to be doing in the world, and that is nurturing your baby. But he has colic, and so you're not sleeping, and you don't know how to ease that, and it's just a hairy kind of situation. So when we're not allowing ourselves to rest, when we're not giving ourselves refuge, we're not renewing. We're just breaking down slowly, or fast for some people. Did that answer your question?
It did, Vivian. So I'm going to go back to the one I was going to ask before, which is, how would you say rest fits into the Love Being Human system?
Oh, I have. As I was preparing for this came to me, and I thought, oh, that's so beautiful. And I wrote it down, and I'm so excited to share it with everyone. I live in Texas. And there's a place called San Marcos near us, and there's this lazy river that you sort of float the river. Have you ever done that? You get in a...
I have, and it's a wonderful experience.
It is, until the tube plops you over, right?
Yes.
And so you're floating, letting the water carry you, and then you're flopped over, and then you're like, wah! And you're flailing and you're flailing. And you do not realize that you could do two things very easily. One, stand up. The water's not even knee deep usually, right? At least here in Texas. You just stand up. So when you stand, you are standing in your being. You're standing in your power. Or you could sit back and relax. You could sit back and just float. And when you do that, then you're renewing. And that's the human part of resting. We're renewing ourselves. Our body needs to renew. So, and then what I wrote down is love is resting in trust. Resting in that full and complete faith that everything might be a mess, but it's all so beautiful. That's going back to that idea that the greatest possible outcome is unfolding for everyone all at once. And so when we're resting in that faith, in that total trust, then we are moving in love. So resting is accepting without resisting. And I love that the idea of water came to me, because when you're standing, you're and when I said in your power, the water's only knee deep. It's just a simple sort of presence. There's no force in this power. It's just allowing. And what else did I have over here? Oh, I have a beautiful quote for you. I'm going to read it. It's from Alan Watts. It says, "To have faith is to trust yourself to the water. When you swim, you don't grab hold of the water, because if you do, you'll sink and drown. So instead, you relax and float." And I thought that was a beautiful sort of companion piece to the idea of either standing in your power to rest, letting things to move through you rather than forcing them, or to just sit back and relax, maybe sleep, whatever it is going to allow you to just let go and to drop, that heavy baggage that you're carrying.
Well, that's beautiful, Vivian. Now, you mentioned renewing, and I'm wondering, do you feel that you might look at something differently after resting your mind? Like it might create some space needed for learning or create an openness that wasn't there before?
Oh, totally and completely. Yes, yeah. Yes. I think that draws me to the idea of sharpening the saw, before you go to cut the tree down. The longer that you spend sharpening the saw, the less effort it takes to cut the tree. And I think when you allow yourself to rest, you're creating space and you're expanding. And that gives you more, it gives you a bigger perspective. And it gives you a chance, like you said, to draw in a lot of different answers that might not have been visible if you were in a fog.
Oh, I like that. I took yoga for a little while, and I can remember after those classes, I was just so relaxed. That was just such a wonderful experience. I need to think about going back and doing that sometime again. So, and I have another question about rest that I wondered, can rest be thought of as stopping and living in the here and now?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Oh,
yes. Stopping in the here and now and letting go. Like I said, dropping whatever baggage you have of the moment that happened just before this. Excuse me. And releasing whatever expectation you might have of the moment after this. And that is so completely it. Just being fully present in what is going on right now allows you to rest. It allows you to relax. It allows you to trust. It allows you to stand firm in your power without force. And integrate, all those three things that are going on at the same time. Without the tension, without the struggle. Just let it go.
Vivian, I'm not sure if this is a question or a comment. I'm not sure how this fits, but it came to me, so I'll just say it. By doing resting, do we create a a space for kindness rather than being stressed out and being preoccupied with other thoughts that may not be productive. Is that what you were just saying, kind of, maybe?
I don't think that it creates a doing. I think it creates an allowing.
Oh, an allowing.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think that there's a natural rhythm between us doing and us being. So we do, we be, we do, we be. And if and if there's no, imagine if the sun never set. If the sun never set, then the plants would continuously strive to meet it. Because that's, as I understand it, that's kind of what they do. They reach for the sunlight. And when the sun drops, then they rest. And they renew and they nourish their roots. And so if we never allow our sun to set, if we never allow ourselves to rest, and we continue to strive and reach and pull, then, we're going to have really weak roots. And this is an image that I remember from my youth, and that's tumbleweeds. Huge heads, so our seeds, on the outside are huge and they're big, but it's the first strong wind that comes along. It's just a tumbleweed. It's pulled right out of its ground. There is no foundation. There is no root system that is holding it in. And I think when we don't allow ourselves to rest, that's what we're doing. We're drawing the nutrients from our roots. And what that does is the first strong wind, we're just going to be kind of out there, like a tumbleweed. Imagine the tumbleweeds in the desert, just flopping around. That's what came to mind.
Well, thank you, Vivian. And we want to thank our audience also for being with us here today. And if you enjoyed the conversation, we invite you to connect with us by joining our inner circle at viviancarrasco.com. And I'll leave you with this final thought, a quote from Vivian. Remember, move with purpose and take inspired action.
Thank you for joining us today here on Turning Inward with Dr. Vivian. If the show moved the needle for you, please leave an honest review in iTunes. And also make sure you cruise on over to viviancarrasco.com and join us for personal strategies and tips to help you move forward. Ciao, baby.